Hi, I'm Dr. Keith Ablow with another Pain to Power video. This one is a question for you. When you talk, is it actually you speaking? Now, that would seem to be an obvious question, right? With an obvious answer. Well, yeah, it's me. Well, not so quick and not so clearly, because the bottom line is that there's so much fear that besieges us, that determines and what we're going to say, what we think we can say, can we be authentic, that literally people edit themselves. They become their own harshest critics, their own impromptu editors as they're communicating. And it's unconscious, but you can easily become somebody who polls the room, literally imperceptibly, seeing whether people wince, how are they reacting, and not just in order to get your point across effectively, but too often in order to determine, well, what will my point be? Maybe I need to take a different tack in order to satisfy the audience. That's where not talking as you can start to cost a lot. Cost you a lot because you're not being authentic, but also cost those who would listen to you and receive your message as well, because that's a gift that you would otherwise give them. And I'm not talking about just saying things willy-nilly and not caring at all what an audience or your company or your colleagues or your friends or your family might think. But what I'm saying is that I think people take the edge off the fastball much too frequently and much too dramatically. Tapping into what you really believe about a situation or about the world or about an idea. Tapping into what you really believe, your gut level feeling about it, is like platinum. Gold, platinum. It's precious because it is the distillation of so many different things. Your whole life experience, your initial view of something, then flavored by and enhanced by experience, and sure, by thinking through it, but not thinking through it with anxiety, not thinking through it to the extent that you say, man, if I really say I think the project's a no-go and we ought to pivot, not thinking through it so much about your audience and their reaction that you don't say it. Because you can easily not say things so much that you lose yourself in the driver's seat of the momentum of your journey. You lose that sense of mastery over what you're presenting to the world, and then you feel as though you've lost yourself. One way to get back to yourself is to say things you really believe deep down inside, and be willing to stand up and take whatever there might be in the way of pushback or criticism. That may not be easy, but it definitely develops strength of character and purpose. It's no different really than going to the gym. If there were no weight, I don't know, you'd have to do infinite repetitions. If there were no weight, you couldn't build muscle at all. Resistance is a gift. Resistance to your creative thoughts, your intellectual ideas, your plans is always going to be there in one form or another, because the best ideas, frankly, the most original ideas, are the ones that create the most resistance frequently in the world. So I want those of you who care about using pain to generate power to understand that part of that formula is being willing to speak as yourself. You're going to experience some discomfort when you do that, I promise. Maybe not every time, but many times. Because the filters in the world are set up partly to screen out originality, believe it or not. It's those ideas and those people who are bold enough to say, that's okay, yeah, there are wins, and I might bend a little bit, but I'm not breaking, I'm not bending too much. Those are the folks who actually change things for the better. And just as importantly, they're people who don't lose sight of who they are. Because once you lose that, it's a long journey back. Believe me, you can get there. That's part of the pain to power formula as well. You can get back to yourself. One way to do it, by the way, is finding those things you care about and speaking to them very directly. But another way to do it, as we've spoken about in other videos, is to go back into your life story and embrace those difficult pages and chapters of your story and make them part of you, your conscious self again. There's a theme building here. It's all about becoming yourself. And I'll tell you, speaking as yourself is a massive part of that.